Hello out there in Flosstube world. Have you ever had a week at work so bad that you bought a cross stitch for it? Not like buying cross stitch to make you feel happier after a bad week of work, but an actual one, because that's what I did this week. I would cry, but I have work to do. So I bought this earlier in the week. This is from Mr. Stevers is the designer, and you can buy it on subversivecrossstitch.com, one of the OG uh, designers and places for all of your snarky cross stitch needs. So I definitely bought this because of the bad time I've been having at work. And I started it naturally. Naturally, I started it. So I'm going to talk about how I've been coping the past couple weeks. We're going to talk about fair projects or kind of just my opinions on them. A little bit of the anti-AI rant. And of course, some stitching. I will put where we see some stitching in the timestamps. So if you don't want to hear me ramble on, you can just go to the stitching. But if you're new here at my channel, my name is Jess. This is Springheeled Stitches. I stitch, as you can maybe tell from my background, all things kind of eclectic and pop culture and horror and, a little bit your regular kind of stuff that you see in cross stitch world. But that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of showing off my stuff just for fun. Just a little bit of a hobby thing, not really trying to make it big or be an influencer. But if you like something you see, I'll link all of the designs in the bottom in the show notes. So you can see if there's a pattern you like. You can try one of those. So yeah, like I said, I had a rough week at work. I crashed out at home where no one could see me and like submitted applications like late at night to an AI, hiring assistant. Cause I was like, oh my gosh, I'm done with this. This won't work anywhere else but here. I've calmed down. And I bought that cross stitch so I can stab it instead of stabbing the people at work who drive me nuts or the people I have to deal with, because we want to stab fabric, not people. And then I can put that at work where it can sit there on my desk and be very snarky, and then people have to look at it. I actually have, it's another subversive cross stitch design at work currently called Please Don't Leave Classified Documents in the Bathroom. If you know, you know. So I stitched that one up because I work with public records and they're not classified, but what I see is very different from what you as the public or people outside the office can see. So my office is kind of full of boxes, like, a weirdo. You look in my office and you think that I'm just chaotic, but I don't really have stacks and stacks of banker boxes of documents for, because it's fun. I'm working on the records and I need to, keep them here. So I thought that was fun for my office, and it was, it fit. It was, timely, still timely. My office is also right next to the bathroom, so even extra timely. So now I will have another snarky stitch to join in the office when I finish that one, and put it right at the desk so people can know exactly how I feel about them. But anyway, second topic, I gotta stop. I'm like picking at my fingers here. I'm being nervous for no reason. I'm just talking to you guys and myself. Thank you all for folks who are following me. I believe I'm over 50 followers right now, so that's amazing. I'm glad that many people wanted to subscribe. So thank you. If you like this and want to hear more, feel free to subscribe. You don't have to put notification buttons. You do whatever you're comfortable with, or give a thumbs up. That always helps me out too. So I wanted to talk about stuff that I'm doing, plans for upcoming things, stitching retreats, and then just kind of topical stuff because it's fair season. And I've been seeing a lot of cross-stitch folks on Instagram showing off stuff for the fair. And I think like the main point is it's really important that people who are motivated to enter things in the fair are able to. They're not like kind of like there's no roadblocks for them to do it, because putting stuff in the fair is not just really about winning the ribbons, because honestly, the ribbons are like, $25, 50, like they're not like big money. They're not big money. But it's more of showing off our craft, especially if you are someone who is doing, kind of, an alternative or different stitches, which I saw a lot of those, that are coming through my local fairs, and I'm enjoying seeing those. Also, just, showing off the craftsmanship. So at Midsummer Stitch, hosted by Lindy Stitches, they had a wonderful session with someone who's a needle art judge, showed off their talented pieces. They've done like almost everything. And they talked about like, what is the key thing about trying to get a ribbon? And what they mentioned was the wow factor, which I think is kind of important when you're looking at all these entries and you're going, what is the wow factor? Like, it could be like, it doesn't have to be the biggest piece. It doesn't have to have the most colors, but it also has to have a wow. And I think sometimes what we want to stitch and what we want to win a ribbon or something like that doesn't really always coordinate, because we're kind of also dependent on the design we're picking. And then of course we're also going in absolutely blind. We have no clue what other people are entering. We have no clue what our competition is until we get there and the judging is done. So I think that's a little bit another thing. I think everyone should stitch what they want and enter it and have a great time. I don't think that you should have to necessarily pick a designer that will wow everyone. I've said this before, a lot of our stuff, probably pre-COVID at our state fair, the Ohio State Fair, was a lot of the fancy ladies. Almost to a point that you would see like 5 or 6 of them in the same category, and now you're like, oh no, now you're competing against a similar design. So I know that I've been seeing folks who have been winning throughout Instagram. Britches Get Stitches had some ribbon wins. Cross Stitch and Cambria had entered 2 pieces and got some ribbon wins recently. So I think it's great that you're putting your stuff out there. I mean, we should just put our stuff out there. It's just kind of also disappointing when you go see your local fair and see what the winner was. Now, I didn't put anything in this year because I felt I got burnt last year. And again, if you are someone who is too passionate about your work and rejection, maybe avoid a fair. But last year I did my county fair and my state fair. And I was going to talk about it last year, but then I kind of felt I was being like a sore loser. So I'm like, yeah, no one wants to hear about that. So I had Vincent here for the county fair, and he won 3rd place. And that was totally fine. I think the first place winner was definitely deserved. It had a wow factor. It had, stitches were clean. Design was great. It was a patchwork kind of, which I know I've seen the designer before, but I just can't think of the top of my head. And then there were other fantastic full coverage pieces that people did. And I think those should have won something instead of what the second place winner was. The second place winner was like maybe 5x7. It was like a patchwork band, and it was fine, but it had like 5 or 6 colors. I mean, it was kind of just a very basic patchwork bland block. And when I looked at it closely, there were threads that were broken and hanging off of the edge of the piece. So my consideration, if I were a judge, would be like, I appreciate the work, but you needed to pull your threads back. You're like, I'm not talking about the back of your piece. I'm talking about the front of the piece where I can see it's trailing off. And I kind of felt really bad for everyone else who didn't get a ribbon, and that one took second. There's also an honorable mention, and I'm like, I would have forgone any sort of ribbon to give someone else who I thought was probably more deserving of a second place or a third place, because I thought the second place winner was, honestly, I thought maybe had a friend with the judges. And then also I was kind of annoyed because I had to pay the fee You know, you got to do the credit card thing online. And then when I got there, they said you have to buy an exhibitor pass. And I'm like, but I'm not coming back to the fair back and forth like I'm showing animals. I'm coming in once with my family, and then I'm coming in, like, you know, once to drop it off when the fair's not open, so I didn't have to pay to get in, and once when the fair was closed, so I didn't have to pay again. So I had to pay an extra, like, $15 to get in. And then when I went with my family, I had to, like, try to find this stinking pass, you know. Thankfully, the ticket person was like, I don't care, just go in. Because I'm like, I buy another $15 ticket to get into the fair. And my county fair, I'm in the county that has the state fair. So, I mean, like, you could walk my county fair and be done in an hour. It's not really that much. I like going to other smaller county fairs because they clearly have more stuff to see. And then I go to the state fair. So I entered this into county fair and won, and I've still been told that they're still trying to send out checks for the winners, and it's a year later and I've never gotten a check for whatever the prize money was for this, but I kind of don't care. I don't think I'm going to give them 30, 40 bucks. And that's the other thing. It needs to be acceptable for people to enter in. So you can't be saying it's $10 to enter, but you got to go online and pay you know, credit card fee to do this, and then you need to come in and have an exhibitor pass, and then you have to, you know, obviously pay to get in or park or that kind of. It has to be accessible for people to want to do it. And then I entered a piece into the Ohio State Fair, which I don't have. It's hanging up in the other room, and it didn't win, which is fine. There were plenty of pieces that were there, so there's a lot of competition. But it also got shoved in the corner. So I kind of feel a little bit that. I've been seeing that a while where they're like, oh, here's the stuff. And I'm like, can we treat people's art with respect? I mean, we need to make sure, especially if you're giving lots of requirements. And I think the state fair makes you put everything in a frame. So there is no possibility for hoops or like tapestries or bell pulls. I'm like, so I think it's kind of limited. So again, maybe I'm just being sour grapes, but I really was sour grapes this year at the state fair, and you can go see my short of me crashing out. So what started on a Reddit post in my local community subreddit on the day after the fair broke turned into a national news thing that the winner of the Ohio State Fair poster contest was clearly done with AI. And they had put in the fair's rules that you had to disclose that you used AI for inspiration, etc. Like they do this for the youth art and the regular artist competition, that you have to disclose if you use AI for any sort of like, you know, assistance. But this thing was, and I'm not going to show it. You can go see the short. It's god awful. It is garbage. And how I was saying about how you're making things kind of unaccessible for people to enter stuff in the fair. And the top prize, the top prize for the Ohio State Fair for crafts was around between $100 and $50. Like the 100 was like for the best of show. This stinking poster got $1,000, $1,000 for someone who just put in a prompt and didn't even check that things were, you know, wrong. Like didn't even check, just went, nah, that's good. I mean, it's got the Liberty Bell on it. We are in Ohio. We are not in Philadelphia. We do not have the Liberty Bell at our fair. I don't know. I mean, people were, you know, rioting, and I was in that riot. And I'm sorry, you know, this is my stance on AI. You've seen me before. I am not someone who is supportive of generative AI to completely replace a creative medium. All right. It has its uses, but to say that it's going to replace a creative medium is not this use. And that slop winning $1,000 that should have gone to the youth art program or the youth agriculture, those kids who work really hard presenting their stuff at the fair, whether it's art or crafts or agriculture. I mean, just absolutely nuts. I think the fair, and of course, I believe what it was is the the fair board people chose the poster, not the folks who are the artistic judges, because they said there's no way that would have flown. If it was an artistic or a craft judge who was looking at that, they would have been like, this is unacceptable. So again, it was just, you can see my short. I got crazy about it. So again, I'm annoyed with that. And so it's another, like, salt in the wound of why I don't want to really enter things, especially in the Ohio State Fair, but maybe I will feel better about it. So again, I know we got more state fairs coming. So I'll sum it up with my crankiness saying, like, if you're entering stuff in the state fair, I wish you best of luck. You deserve having your stuff seen by the public and admired for your craftsmanship. So there's that. Let's talk some of cross-stitches pieces instead of me just, griping. You can maybe tell that, like, the griping from work has now come into, my griping here. Let's remain positive, folks. As positive as we can in these trying times. So, cross-stitch plans this month. I'm doing Annihilation August, the hashtag there, and it is the Snitch Stitcher, I believe, is one of the folks who's doing it. They have some templates on their Instagram, but it's basically saying tackle those long overdue whips. So that's what I wanted to do along with my whip goes for the month. So I will pull out a couple of finishes, and I have some finishes. I'm going to have some more finishes. I'm riding on a high right now. So let's go from a long overdue whip, which I said I was very excited that it came up in my whip go. This is the Samhain Queen by Witch Garden Crafts. There's the top of the piece. This is on a 36 count linen by Mystic Fabric. I don't remember the name, but it actually turned out nice because it's only really around 8 by 10 pieces, so I don't think I'll have difficulty finding a nice frame for this. But this was released last year, and the frame was released in September. So you had a month to do the frame, and then every day in October, they released a new motif of something that came out. And also they put the history of the items there. So the cauldron, the scythe, the wolf, the hammer, the foliage, the bat. Like, it had history to it, as well as we kind of have that her dress is, each had a different part to it. So you have, like, the wind, the, it's kind of a little bit hard to tell just because of the colors and the lighting, but you got, like, snow, and obviously, spirits in the grave and other stuff. So it's very thoughtful here. It's not just like, here's some fun Halloween motifs. They really did a fantastic job. And I wanted to finish this because they are starting a new one in September called Here Lies the Body, and it's based off of early American cemetery motifs. So they have a sneak peek of the frame that's going to come out on September 1st. I said I have to finish this one before I start a new one. Also, I have to say that this little owl here, this guy, I had to frog him twice. So I'm very happy. And I waited towards the end to finish him. So when I went back to do this, I just basically took the whole pattern of the finished piece. I didn't go by each day that I had missed. I said, nope, I'm just going to do the whole finished piece. But that owl, I waited till the end. And the wolf is very sweet too. But I love this owl. The new one is like $10. It's very affordable. And so if you're looking for something to do during the month of October, Witch Garden Crafts has Sal coming out. They do other Sals. I highly recommend their designs and the way they release their Sals. If you have the time, I think it's quite doable to get this all done. But I, am a slacker. So I am finished with this one, and that is done for Annihilation August. Let's see. I have a small finish. This one was not so much of a long start. You saw this during my whip parade. This is kind of my newest whip, and now it's my newest finished. Look at that. don't have those loose hanging threads, you won't win nothing at the fair. So this is the Tiny Modernist Columbus, and they have several of these. I believe this pattern is from 2014, so you might have to get it on the secondhand market. I did not see it anywhere on their website as like a downloadable. I got this at a needlework shop up in Northern Ohio from a Tour de Stitch that usually happens in October, where you just go around and visit your favorite stitch shops. But I finished this up. You know, we've got the river. You can choose which one it's supposed to be. We have two of them. I think this is supposed to be the Scioto. And then we have the buildings here. So we have the Rhodes State Tower, the Levesque Tower. This is, you know, very Art Deco, 1930s. You can tell this is the Huntington Building. And then this is the Rife Center State House. Fun fact, there are theaters up here on the top, and I used to work at them. So there's actually theaters on the bottom too. There's theaters everywhere. So this is a building that has offices for state representatives as well, because it's right across the street from the State House. But it also has, actually has 4 theaters in there. So it has... they changed it, but there's a big general theater that you have down on the main one, and then you have like 3 studio theaters up top. And I used to work, it was called Catco. It's now merged with other people, but that was one of my first theater jobs out of college, was doing shows for them. So that was really fun, because you would like go through and get your bags checked, like, because they thought you were going to, you know, see the representatives, but you were just really going to work the theater. And then we had our own fun special elevator that we could go up. So I appreciate that that building is included in this stitch. So I will stitch this up, and maybe I'll put it also, I have another Columbus stitch that I did, and it's hanging in my office, so I think I'll probably do that there. I did mention that I was salty on my Facebook group, and when I posted this, that we only have cars to represent us and no light rail. We're one of the largest cities in the US without a light rail, and gosh, we need public transportation, because cars are a necessary evil. So that's, you know, I'm getting grumpy today, Jess. So, yep, Claire's Columbus by the Tiny Modernist. All right. Let's see, we only have 3 finishes. We're going to have 4 finishes probably by the weekend. So this next one is We the Women by Heart and Hand Needleart. I don't know why it's crooked. Let's try this. There we go. So you've seen this before. It was on my whip parade. Close up of that right there. This is on a mushroom Lagana that I love, and I've been doing a bunch of projects on. It's 28 count, and this is all the called for colors. So I did do some different stuff with here, because they did have different, let me fold this over so you can see. They had different ways to change the dress or the skin tone of the person that you're looking at, if you wanted to make it lighter or darker, or have it fit in to what your preference would be. So I decided to kind of take the shade that they gave us was I think it was like Weak Skyward Sand. It was very pale. And even though I myself am very pale, I am from Southern Italian and Puerto Rican descent. So I wanted to have some of that reflected in there as well. So I kind of picked a little bit more, a DMC color that was a bit more of a olive, slightly olive undertone of the skin. And then for up here, you had the spot for your initials. And I was debating on this because I didn't really want to put all my initials, because number one, it wouldn't fit. Some of these letters, as you can tell, the M's are very bigger. So I was debating what to do, and I just decided that I was going to put the initials of my father's surname, and then my mother's maiden name. So I thought that would be something, because the idea is, honoring your descendants. So I thought that would probably work for me to just honor the people and the women who came from my side of the family. So sorry to my dear husband, I didn't put your initial in this one. But if my kiddo ever wants to stitch it, they can put their initial from their father's side there. So that's how I decided to finish that one up, by honoring my parents with their initials there. So where I came from. Even though there technically could probably be another initial in there, another letter in there as well. But this one was finished. I did this with my stitching group from StitchCon. We bought the pattern there. We decided to work on it through July, and I finished this one up right about August 2nd. So right at the beginning of this month. All right. So those are our 3 finishes. My other one is just, I had mentioned in the last thing how I wanted to start up some bookmarks and finish them up. So this one's actually been a work project, and I brought it home. And woo, let's see if we can, there we go. Because you can see the holes right through there. I will finish this up with a piece of felt, but this is the Pretty in Pink Halloween by Flossy Fox Studios. And I just have a little bit to do back here. Like, we're about 80 stitches away. So I want to finish this up because a color from this needs to go into another pattern. So I want to, excuse me, finish that up and transfer it over. So that will hopefully be finish number 4 for August. And at that point, I don't know. Well, I think I might have another one that I want to finish up for the Annihilation August bit. So let me show you some of the whips that I'm working on. So the other piece that I wanted to finish up for Annihilation August has actually also been sitting in a drawer of, you know, unfinished and uncertainty. And it's Heartstring Samplers Who Let the Frogs Out. So all of the back stitches have been finished on this. All of the cross stitches have been finished on this. It's the back stitches that weren't done. So I had enough here to do this one little frog, if you can kind of see. And then I ran out of the variegated floss I was using. And it kind of sat there, and I said, do I even want to finish the back stitches? Are they even important? But I think looking at it, they kind of are, because as you can see, the little thread goes from the spool around through the needle and into the cross stitch. So I'm like, okay, the back stitches are important. There's a reason the person put them there. So I need to make this nice and taut on a Nerd Hoop, and I have the extra, there it is, all the way back here. I've got the DMC 4047 variegated floss to work on that. So hopefully that will be another finish for August Annihilation. And then the other stuff that I'm doing is probably, I have other plans to work on things. And they're too big to get finished for August Annihilation. But especially next week. Next week, I am doing the Fellowship of Floss virtual cross-stitch retreat that's run by the Cross-Stitch Society. I think you can still sign up, but I'll put the link down there. They just released the schedule, and I'm very excited. Only just because I want to sit around and watch all of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies, because I enjoy doing that, and also I'm trying to get my kid to watch them with me, to be like, come on. My husband has seen them and has, pandered to me enough times, but I don't think he's really ready to sit down and do a whole marathon. So I want to meet like-minded people and watch these marathons, but they released them, and I was reading the thing, I was geeking out, because not only are we watching the, all of the Peter Jackson movies, we're watching the animated ones too. So let me know in the comments if you've ever seen any of the animated Lord of the Rings. And we're not just doing Rankin and Bass, we're doing the Ralph Bakshi ones too, and the other Rankin and Bass Return of the King one, which I don't think most people know. I think they just remember the Hobbit one from 1977. So I'm excited to sit and do the cross-stitch challenges and work my big Lord of the Rings piece, and then probably stop myself from singing some of the songs, especially from the 1977 one, because that is for the first exposure that I really got to the Tolkien stuff, was watching the animated Hobbit. We had it on Laserdisc. That's how old I am. So it's going to be next week. It starts on Thursday. They have schedules posted to like where you're at, but it's going to start on Thursday afternoon Central Time, because that's where the hosts are at. It's all on Discord, so you will have to, have a Discord account and get invited to their separate Discord. So I need to make sure that my laptop is ready to go, because I'll be on the laptop on the Discord, and then I'll be on my iPad with the patterns. So. And let's see, I've got another whip, because this is the last from my whip go. No, actually I have 2 whips, because I did say that I was working on that, I love to cry, but I have to work piece. I did start it. So that's all I have right there. And this is like 4 colors, and I decided to do this on like a fun green, it's a fabric flare, like a green apple fabric that I've had in my stash, just because it's a little bit, different than just doing it on a plain white fabric. So those are my plans for next week, as working on that. And then I have a bit of extra floss that just is kind of chilling here. Oh, I know where it's from. You ever have that? You like walk around and people can tell where you've been because you just leave trails of floss where you're at. I think that's just kind of something about being a stitcher. So I'm working on, for my whip go, like I said, I really wanted to finish the Samhain Queen first. So I really paid attention to that for a couple weeks before I got to my other thing, which was the Fantasia Sow. So I'm working on this. So I'm working on here. We're into the Beethoven's part of Fantasia, so I need to finish up Dionysus's nose and his hair. Then we've got Zeus, who's going to be coming up. And then Iris, the rainbow goddess. And then we get into the last 2 pieces of Fantasia. So these come together like fairly quickly. You just gotta have time for it. So I like to knock a couple of these out this weekend as well, while I'm sitting around and doing stuff. So my plans basically going into the rest of August and then into September is we're obviously going to be focusing on spooky stitching stuff. Why not? We're going to be taking a little trip to Middle-earth and going into Lord of the Rings. So I'm going to be working on my big piece. But they also have challenges throughout the event. So if I find a piece that fits more into the challenge, I'll do that. But my main goal is to knock out a lot of that piece as well. Well, my main goal is this weekend is to get the crap done around my house so I can sit and enjoy the virtual retreat next weekend, even though I have to work. Boo. Oh, there goes the dog. So there's that. And then, secondly, I want to start the Here Lies the Body. Sorry about the dog. I guess someone decided to, drive down the street. How dare they? So I want to start the Here Lies the Body frame, which is going to come out on the 1st from Witch Gardens Crafts. And then my mom gave me this because she had doubles of it. This is the Salem Sampler by Plum Street Sampler. And we are going to Mystic Fabrics back to stitch in late September. So that's going to be in-person retreat. And we decided that we would start this, but I think it's kind of interesting because I'm basically not going to be doing the same thing, but the frame that they have for Here Lies the Body has the same kind of motif up here. I mean, it's early Americana. And then, of course, it's a frame. So I'm like, oh, maybe 2 similar pieces at the same time. But the thing is, I won't know what the inside of the frame for Here Lies the Body will look like until October 1st. So it's going to be the fun mystery of it. So my other plan is to start that and to get some other spooky stitching stuff out of the way. I bought more patterns. What a surprise. Because there were some sales. And then in October, I want to do Halloween. So I want to work on some graphics to see if I can put those on my socials if you're interested in that. But I've got 3 or 4 owl patterns. And I just want to work on owl patterns because I know I stitch Halloween and stitch spooky all year long. So I'm not needing to get anything framed or gifted. I have plenty of stuff that I can hang up in my house anyway if it's not already hung up. So I don't really have a need to get Halloween stuff done during October. I want to get done before October or work on it. But I really want to finish out some owl projects as well. So if you're interested in doing an Owlween with me, feel free to leave a like or a comment, and I'll post some stuff. I'm working on some graphics, not AI graphics. Thank you very much. That I can maybe put, and then you can just like take a frame and like put your picture in it and say that you're working on something for Halloween, because I think that would be fun. And just kind of like, you know, cute, not so much pressure, you know. I'm kind of done with pressure. It's been a week. Work, life. Even the dog is mad. So thanks for stopping by here on my like little Saturday morning catch up. I hope you're well. I hope all of your stuff wins ribbons at the fair, even though I know that's not possible. I'm giving you lots of ribbons. Like, you know, like I guess with like TikTok or whatever, or Facebook, they give you stars or ribbons or gifts, like, you know. But I hope that you're brave for putting your stuff out there, and I'm proud of you. And I'm also proud of everyone who stabbed fabric and not their boss this week, because we're all too pretty to be sitting in prison. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all next time.